We're coming at you 99.5, 95.3 in St. George, 93.1 or 1400 up in Cedar City and surrounding. And very excited to talk for the very first time about one of the newest coaches in Region 9 football. Not the only new coach, because Ty Hyatt got hired at Cedar City a week or so after Jerry Cowan got hired to be the Hurricane Tiger football coach. And Jerry Cowan joins us now on the hotline. Coach, good morning. Excited to have you on the show. How are we doing on a Wednesday morning?
Oh, we're doing good. We're probably a little colder up here where I'm at than where you guys are.
Yeah, you got to finish up the school year in Duchesne before you can get down here to sunny St. George, right?
Yeah, we got to get through the school year. My daughter's a senior, so she's going to be graduating, and then we'll make the move.
Tell me about the backstory. Tell our listeners how you ended up becoming the Hurricane Tiger football coach. When did you start talking with the Tigers? When did you decide to officially apply? I want to hear everything.
Well, it was a 3-year process, to be honest. 3 years ago, the job opened up, and Corey Ashby, who just resigned as the head coach, I played football with down at SUU a long time ago, and he got a hold of me and said, the job's open, and and I've been in Duchesne for 19 years, and I've never put in for a job. I've never had any desire to. I love it here. It was just one of those things. We knew if my wife and we met down in Cedar City, so we knew if we ever were even going to consider leaving this area, it would be down that way. And so we put in for the job, and we got the job, and that was 3 years ago, and we turned it down just because we weren't quite ready. And so during those 3 years, Principal Daniel McKeon and Marcus Matua, the athletic director, and Corey Ashby, the head coach, just kept in touch with us, and we knew this would be the window if we ever were going to make the move. My daughter's a senior, and my oldest son's going to be he's an 8th grade kid, so he's going to be a 9th grader. So we didn't want to get him started in high school and then move. So this was our window of opportunity, I guess. And we just, they really pushed, to get us there. They honestly made it to where we had a hard time saying no. And so, that's kind of a little background of how it happened.
What was the reaction when you told your kids you were moving to Hurricane, Utah, Coach?
Well, our kids, like I said, they've known about this for a while, and so at first they were real reluctant to it, and then not really open-minded about it. How kids are. My son's a 6th grader and an 8th grader, my 2 sons, and then our daughter's finishing up. So they weren't really open to it at first, and then as the last couple of years have rolled by, we've just kind of kept it in their ear, and being a possibility. And it wasn't easy, but they both were on board, especially the younger one. He was fine, and then the oldest one was open-minded, and we made the decision, and there's no looking back now.
And Coach Ashby was instrumental in recruiting you to be the new coach of Hurricane High School. He preached team above self to his players and the community, and demonstrated his commitment to the philosophy as he graciously welcomes you to coach the Hurricane High School program now. Coach, just talk about Coach Ashby and how much impact he had on you coming down to Hurricane.
Well, I mean, it's honestly almost a storybook. It's almost a movie. That the kid, takes over the job 3 years ago, and honestly, it was a heck of a tough position for him. He's not in the school. He works outside of the school, so he's not able to be in the weight room with them during the school hours, and not able to see him during the day, not able to check on grades. So I always feel like the head football coach should be in the school, to give them the best opportunity to be successful. So he took a job that probably not a lot of people wanted, and, he stepped up, and, the unselfishness that he showed to not only step down, for us to get there, but, he's still going to play a big role. He's still going to be, I always feel like his role won't change a ton, besides the fact you don't have to deal with all the BS stuff that I'll have to deal with. The head coaches have to deal with all the hard stuff, and so I think I'm going to make his life a lot easier, and he can just coach and enjoy stuff, and I'll be the guy that, that hopefully brings a little more structure and discipline and toughness, and just, between the two of us and the rest of the staff that he's put together, and, we'll mix it up a little bit and add a few guys and shuffle some guys around. But honestly, it's just going to be, a lot of the same faces, and until I get comfortable with the area and the kids and the community, I mean, I'm just going to kind of mold what I have and teach what I know, and bring out the best in each kid, and bring out Hurricane football to what it used to be and what I know we can get it to, and what I think a hurry. I think we can get there quick.
Yeah, I'm excited. I remember the years where Hurricane was in state championship after state championship. I think at one point, man, they kind of been snake bit. They lost 3 in a row, and then finally, was it 2011 or 12? Finally winning that state championship with Coach Homer was there. And those are some good football teams, some hard-nosed football teams that can really run the football and throw the football, very balanced teams back there in those days. You've put together quite the resume at Duchesne. How hard was it to tell your athletic department and your administrators and your players that you were taking off to try to rebuild this Tiger program?
It was hard to tell my players. The rest of it was not a problem. I mean, I do this for the kids, and it was as hard as you could ever imagine. We sat on this for weeks and months, and we had tears and we had stress, and it was the toughest decision business wise or coaching wise, obviously by far in my life. As I've said, I've never even considered leaving this place. We built it from the ground up when we got here in 2003. They'd never won a state championship, and it was just kind of something they did before basketball season, and it took a lot of work. I mean, it was incredibly difficult to get to where we got, and to give that up. I mean, last year we got a brand new turf field and unreal stadium, new lights, new bleachers, new press box. I mean, I'd put this stadium against any stadium in the state, to be honest. It's unreal how beautiful and how much work they put into it and how much money they put into it, and new locker rooms, new weight room. So 17, 18 years of painting the field on my own, and honestly playing on a patch of grass that we didn't have a practice field, so our grass was getting matted down from all the wear and tear, and and just having bare minimum facilities all those years, and now having all top of the line stuff and leaving it was very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And so in our youth program last year, our 8th grade, 7th and 8th grade team was undefeated. Our junior high team only lost 1 game. So I'm leaving a talented group, and I'm leaving. I'm not bailing on a group that I can see is falling apart. I mean, we're leaving it at the top of the top, and so there were so many factors involved, but it was a tough thing for us for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like you, Jerry Cowan, a new Hurricane high school head coach. Him and his wife been moving down here since school year's over, going right to work. They're both in education, so both will be teachers out there in Hurricane, and Hurricane getting a good one. He won 5 state championships as a head coach. I think he had 2 more as an assistant coach. That winning streak, I know when I got the news, that was one thing that stood out to me when I was looking you up, was the 48 straight wins that you guys compiled, which is the longest winning streak in the state of Utah. That's pretty impressive, Coach. So to leave all that behind in the new stadium and stuff I didn't know about, have they already turned the keys to the kingdom over to one of your assistant coaches? Did they hire in-house, or who's the new Duchesne coach? Have they hired that position yet?
Well, if they're smart, they will. But I haven't. I mean, they haven't decided. I told them I'd like to be involved in that. I have an assistant coach, Justin Parker, that is a no-brainer. But I don't make that call. So I mean, if they want to bring something different and try to see, or they can, the proof's in the pudding with the guy that is here. So I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer, and he'd keep things rolling. And I mean, he knows everything I know, and it was tough to leave him because he's been such a loyal assistant, and he's a really, really good football coach. But no, they haven't. They said it's going to be open for 2 weeks. I think it's got a couple more days, and then we'll see what happens. But I mean, that's out of my control.
Coach, it seems kind of like the process that you went through at Duchesne seems very similar to maybe what they're expecting here with Hurricane. I know it's one of the teams in the region that maybe doesn't have the most funding going towards it, and sometimes it's hard to actually get the right players recruited there and things like that. But it seems like you come in with an idea to build that culture. What are you kind of pitching to guys as your first kind of meetings are going through in the off season, and what's kind of been that overall feeling in the aura in the locker room?
Well, I went and met with all the kids Monday. I went to the middle school, met with the 8th grade, and then I met with the 9th grade. Then I went to the high school, met with the 10th grade, then the 11th grade. I wanted to do it in small groups rather than the whole team at once. And so I kind of got, obviously saw some faces. And the biggest thing with us, with me, is the weight room. We're gonna preach that. I know they were texting me this morning. There was 55 kids in the weight room this morning, which is a lot more than what they've been getting. So just having that presence of, preaching the, I let the kids know. I mean, I'm not going to have kids play on the field if they're not putting the time in the weight room. This isn't we're not playing golf. This is a football. It's a contact sport. It's a violent sport. So putting yourself in the weight room 3-4 days a week and building up a base of strength that you can, protect the people around you, and that's going to result in wins. And so that's the biggest thing, and the administration did a really good job of getting me weight. I'll be the weights coach and, one of the weights coaches, but I'll have all the football kids. And that was the only way I was going to, come is, I said I need every football kid, and I'm not against having other athletes in my classes too, as long as they're going to, work hard. But I got to have the football kids. I'm the football coach. So, so I'll have those kids, and then I'll go to the middle school for a couple classes every other day and work with the younger kids. And so we're gonna bring a culture of toughness and hard work, and and I'm a guy that doesn't like change, man. I've been here for a long time. I've had plenty of opportunity to leave, and I've never been interested. And so they're getting a guy this is my last move. I'm not gonna, I'm not moving down there looking to move somewhere else. This is it. We're coming to a place that needs change, and it needs, culture change, and it's going to get it. Whether it's good, bad, or ugly, it's going to happen. So we're excited, and we're all in.
Jerry Cowan, new Hurricane Tiger football coach, live with us right now on the Fan Sports Network. Can't wait. Won't be long before August rolls around. We got our high school football media day, and we're talking about Friday nights under the lights. What has been your perception of Region 9 from up in Duchesne as you've seen scores and you've seen these teams come through and seen some of the coaches that have coached down here? What are your thoughts about, the toughness of the region and just your overall, thoughts of getting now into Region 9?
Well, obviously it's incredible football. I mean, down south. I mean, even looking at some of the smaller schools down south in the Beavers and the Canabs, the Enterprises who knocked us off in the semifinals this year in overtime. I mean, it's incredible football, and it's something that is taken serious. And, Region 9 is obviously as tough of a region as there is in the state of Utah, when you compare level of, the level of football there. And so I know what I'm getting myself into. I know I'm not coming down there and, we're going to have, some powder cake games in region. I know every region game is going to be tough and it's going to be a challenge, and each week's going to be, a preparation of just like it's going to be a playoff atmosphere. And, and I think Hurricanes kind of been that team that teams look at and, feel like there's their game that they can relax on, and because they haven't been successful the last handful of years. And our goal is to make that, change that. We want to be in every ball game, and, we want to win, lose, or draw. We want to be competitive, and, we want to be able to make teams have to prepare for us, and if they don't, make them pay. And, at the same time, we respect what they do, and all we can do is put our kids in a position to be successful and coach as hard as we can coach, and kids got to play as hard as they can play, and and we'll, whatever the result is, we'll accept. But as long as we're working hard in the off season and working hard in the weight room and practicing hard and coaching hard, that's all we can ask of the guys. And I think there's some young talent coming up, and we've looked into that. I looked into every class, and potential's there. So it's just develop them and get the most out of them, and I have no doubt that we can put Hurricane back on the map, and I think we can do it quickly.
I love it. I love it. Coach Jerry Cowan with us here. As far as a defensive guy or offensive guy, are you going to call plays on one side of the ball? And how's the staff getting assembled? Will you keep a lot of the current staff, or you got a couple people coming with you, or how's that shaking out? Or you'll add as you get here once you get into the summer and the 7-on-7s and the camps and whatnot?
Yes. uh, you know, being a smaller school, coaching at a smaller school, I've had years of where it was just me doing both sides of the ball, to be honest, and I had to get to where I could trust the coach, to hand the keys over. And I finally got to where I could just do defense after the last several years, and had a guy that, could do offense, and took a lot of pressure off me. I'm not going to turn the keys over to a guy that I don't trust, or I don't know, or, so going down there's a little more experience with some of the coaches, and Coach Ashby he'll take the offense, and and the funny thing is the offense. I don't know if it's funny, but the offense that we ran here the last 3 or 4 years, the gun tee, which is a form of spread. It's a gun tee, so it's a lot of kids, a lot of people, uneducated people, I would say, think of it as a wing tee, and it's really similar, but it's more closer to a spread offense. I mean, you're putting yourself in shotgun, and you're spreading the field out, and you're doing a lot of giving the kids the ball in space, and so the offense they've been running the last couple of years is the same offense we've been running. So I bring, when Corey got the job, he kind of wanted to do something similar to what we were doing, knowing there was a chance that I would end up down there, and so he ended up putting in the same offense. And so the base principles are already set in stone with some of those kids. So for us, it's just going to be going down there and being Corey's mentor on offense and showing him stuff I know, and I'm going to be spending a lot of time with the offensive line. That's where you're going to win games, and just my role with him is just going to be to mentor him on the offensive side and help him the best I can, and defensively, I mean, I guess that's always been what people say is my strength. I guess I've never really just thought I was a defensive guy. I thought I was a head coach, and I feel comfortable coaching anything, but defensively, I guess, is where I played, and where I think mentality-wise, I'm a defensive mentality guy, so it obviously makes sense. So that's the plan as far as me probably running the defense, and unless I can find a guy that, I've got a couple guys in mind, but unless I can find a guy that I truly trust, that he can implement what I like to do, and eventually I will, but at first it'll probably just be, me kind of in control and try to mentor a guy, and I don't want someone to bring what they know, because I already have a plan of what I want to do. So it's just a matter of finding a guy to teach what I know, and we're gonna have fun, man. That's the best part of football is game plans and scheming against teams, and showing them different looks and playing. It's a head game, and putting good athletes on the field, and watching it all come together. So I'm excited, and I'm just going to be utilizing myself the best I can wherever I'm needed, and try to find some. We're definitely going to add a few coaches, and I've got a couple, and I need a couple more, and I've got people reaching out to me, and which is kind of a good thing, because up here in Duchesne, it's usually, if I need a coach, I've got to go find one. Where here, I've got people actually reaching out to me, so it's kind of a little different, and so we're excited, man. We're, I've been texting with the kids and trying to get to know some of these guys, and so I've got a few months up here where I'm just going to do my best, just make a couple trips down there, and
Love it.
but I'm relying on Coach Ashby and the rest of the guys to kind of take control until I get there, and Coach Ashby's awesome, man. He's an all-in Hurricane kid, and he just wants to see the program successful. It's not an ego thing with thing with him. It's just
And he was one of the first people to text me and say, hey, we got a new coach. I think he's really excited to have you. Coach, we're up against the clock. Thanks for dropping by. Welcome to Region 9, to you and the family, and I look forward to meeting you real soon, buddy. Thanks for the time this morning.
Okay, Devin, I appreciate having me.
Jerry Cowan, everybody, live on the Fan. We'll be right back.